Change won't happen to you. It will happen because of you. Shift your philosophy and your future shifts with it. Today you choose responsibility, discipline, and higher standards. No more average. This is the moment you become unstoppable. Philosophy is the root of every transformation. Before success, before habits, before discipline, there's thought. Your personal philosophy is the lens through which you interpret life, and it silently governs everything you do. It's not just what you know, but what you believe about what you know. It's the foundation of your actions, the compass of your choices, and the architect of your results. If your philosophy is clear and empowering, your path unfolds with purpose. But if it's built on fear, doubt, or limitation, every effort you make will collapse under pressure. You can't live a successful life with a broken way of thinking. To change your world, you must first challenge your worldview. Every belief you hold shapes your direction. If you believe life is happening to you, you'll act like a victim. If you believe life is happening for you, you'll act like a creator. This simple shift is what separates the average from the extraordinary. People chase wealth, status, and recognition, but those things are effects, not causes. The cause is always internal, your philosophy. The poor mindset says, I'll believe it when I see it. The rich mindset says, I'll see it when I believe it. One sees the world as a reflection of circumstances, the other sees it as a reflection of mindset. That difference determines your destiny. Your philosophy defines what you expect from yourself. A person who believes success is luck will wait for a break. A person who believes success is discipline will create their break. The truth is, life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you're prepared for. And preparation begins in the mind. Before every great achievement, there was a philosophy of persistence. Before every failure, there was a philosophy of excuses. The results of your life are mirrors reflecting what you've chosen to believe. Changing your philosophy means examining the ideas you've unconsciously lived by. Ask yourself, what do I believe about money, love, growth, struggle, and success? Are these beliefs serving me or limiting me? Most people live on inherited ideas, beliefs passed down by parents, teachers, or society that no longer fit who they're becoming. You can't live a limitless life using a limited philosophy. When you question your patterns, you open the door to evolution. Awareness is the first revolution. The most successful people don't think differently by accident. They train their minds. They read, reflect, ask better questions, and surround themselves with thinkers, not complainers. They feed their minds philosophies that expand their capacity to act. You can do the same. Start by observing how you respond to challenges. Do you see problems or possibilities? Do you focus on what's missing or what's possible? Your answers reveal your philosophy in motion. Understand this. Your past doesn't define your philosophy unless you keep repeating it. You can't rewrite history, but you can rewrite how you interpret it. Every lesson, every pain, every setback, these are raw materials for a stronger belief system. You can decide right now that failure is not final, that delay is not denial, and that effort always compounds. That's not positivity, it's philosophy in action. So, how do you begin? You start by taking responsibility for your thoughts. Guard them like treasures. Question them like a scholar. Challenge anything that limits your potential. Build your philosophy brick by brick, a belief in discipline, in learning, in purpose, in persistence. Because philosophy drives attitude, attitude drives action, and action drives results. If your philosophy is aligned with growth, your results will follow. But if your philosophy is rooted in doubt or blame, nothing you do will stick. So, make the shift. Don't start with your bank account, start with your belief system. Don't fix your habits first, fix the mindset that forms them. Success begins the moment you realize your thoughts are not just thoughts. They are blueprints for your future. Change your mind, and you change your life. Because every great story of transformation begins with a single decision to think differently. Developing a better philosophy is the art of building a stronger mind, a sharper perspective, and a wiser way of living. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something you cultivate intentionally, one thought at a time. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of designing their responses. They don't realize that their mindset, their personal philosophy, is the invisible engine behind every decision, habit, and outcome. If you want to rise above average, you have to become a student of life. You must train your mind as deliberately as an athlete trains their body. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards the clarity, wisdom, and strength that come from having a refined philosophy. The first step to developing a better philosophy is to become an eager student. Read and study daily. Feed your mind as consistently as you feed your body. Books are conversations with great minds that have already walked the path you're trying to travel. When you read, you compress decades of experience into days of learning. Study thinkers, leaders, builders, and dreamers who have faced adversity and triumphed. Learn how they thought, not just what they did. Because if you adopt their mindset, you'll naturally produce similar results. Don't limit your learning to one subject. Study business, psychology, spirituality, communication, finance, and growth. The more perspectives you absorb, the more wisdom you'll develop. Remember, a narrow mind leads to narrow opportunities, but an educated mind creates endless ones. The next step is observation and reflection. Learning doesn't end with reading, it begins there. You have to take what you learn and observe how it plays out in real life. Watch the people around you, who is growing and who is stuck, who complains and who creates. Success and failure both leave clues, and the wise person studies both. Reflection transforms information into insight. Take time each day to pause and think, what did I experience today? What can I learn from it? What can I improve tomorrow? When you stop rushing and start reflecting, your life slows down enough for wisdom to take root. Every moment, whether painful or peaceful, contains a lesson. Reflection helps you find it. The third step is to ask better questions. Most people get poor answers because they ask powerless questions. They say, why is life so hard? Instead of, what can I learn from this challenge? They ask, why am I not successful? Instead of, what skill must I master to become valuable? Your mind is a servant. It answers whatever question you give it. If you ask weak questions, you'll get weak answers. Strong questions, however, unlock creativity, growth, and direction. So train yourself to ask questions that move you forward. What can I do better? Who can I learn from? What's the opportunity hidden in this problem? Better questions lead to better philosophies, and better philosophies lead to better lives. The fourth and most powerful step is association. The people around you are shaping your thoughts more than you realize. If you spend your time with complainers, you'll think like one. If you spend it with builders, you'll start building. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. That's why you must choose your circle intentionally. Surround yourself with mentors, leaders, and peers who challenge you to think bigger and live better. Listen more than you speak. Let their habits, energy, and mindset elevate yours. When you walk with the wise, wisdom becomes your natural language. Developing a better philosophy is not about memorizing quotes. It's about transforming your identity. It's about deciding that you'll never stop learning, never stop observing, never stop asking, and never stop growing. The person you are today is a reflection of the ideas you accepted yesterday. The person you'll become tomorrow depends on the ideas you embrace today. So feed your mind with truth, surround yourself with strength, and question everything that keeps you small. Because once your philosophy changes, your entire world begins to shift. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. Upgrade your mind, and everything else will rise to meet it. The mindset of responsibility is the foundation of all personal growth and success. It's the invisible line that separates those who make progress from those who stay stuck. The moment you stop blaming and start owning your life, you take back the power you unknowingly gave away. Responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you recognize that your reactions, decisions, and choices are within your control. It's about understanding that while you can't always choose what happens, you can always choose how you respond. That's where freedom begins. You can't change your life by pointing fingers. You change it by looking in the mirror and saying, it's on me. Most people waste years trapped in the cycle of blame. They blame their parents, the economy, their circumstances, or bad luck. But blame keeps you powerless because it tells your mind that someone else controls your destiny. When you blame, you wait, waiting for someone else to fix, apologize, or rescue you. But when you take responsibility, you stop waiting and start moving. You become the cause, not the effect. You stop saying, they did this to me, and start saying, I have the power to change this. Responsibility shifts you from victimhood to leadership. It transforms frustration into fuel. Taking responsibility doesn't mean denying that unfair things happen. Life can be brutal and unpredictable. People may hurt you, opportunities may fall through, and challenges may arrive uninvited. But responsibility means you don't let those moments define your identity. You accept reality without surrendering your power. You say, this is my situation, but it's not my sentence. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what can I learn from this? That shift in mindset is the birthplace of growth. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. That's when you begin to evolve. Responsibility is maturity in action. It's saying, I could have done better, without shame. It's admitting when you're wrong, not to feel small, but to grow taller. Weak minds hide behind excuses. Strong minds own their outcomes. When you start taking responsibility, you begin to notice patterns in your behavior. You recognize where you've been holding yourself back through procrastination, fear, or negative thinking. You realize that discipline, consistency, and results all depend on one person, you. Responsibility forces you to confront your habits honestly. It doesn't let you escape into blame or excuses. It holds you accountable to your potential. When you live with responsibility, your self-respect deepens. You no longer depend on others to motivate you or fix your problems. You start showing up for yourself, even when no one's watching. You stop waiting for perfect conditions because you realize you can create them. Responsibility builds discipline because it reminds you that no one else can do the work for you. It builds resilience because it teaches you that failure isn't the end. It's feedback. Every time you take ownership of your life, you become more powerful, more focused, and more unstoppable. The mindset of responsibility also transforms how you view time. You stop wasting hours in blame and start investing minutes in action. You learn that time is your most valuable currency. Once spent, it's gone forever. You begin protecting your time from distractions, negativity, and energy-draining people. You start guarding your focus like it's gold. When you treat every minute as a choice, you start living with intention. You no longer drift through days. You design them. Taking full responsibility might feel heavy at first, but soon you'll realize it's the lightest way to live. Because once you own everything, nothing owns you. You stop being controlled by anger, regret, or resentment. You start living from a place of purpose and power. You become someone others can depend on, someone who creates results instead of excuses. Responsibility becomes your identity. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe yourself everything. You owe yourself effort, awareness, growth, and action. You owe yourself the life you're capable of creating. So stop waiting for permission or validation. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Take responsibility for where you are, and take the next step toward where you want to be. Because the day you stop blaming is the day you start becoming. Responsibility is not a burden, it's the key that unlocks freedom. When you fully own your life, you don't just change your situation, you change who you are. And that's when you become truly unstoppable. Change begins with discipline. It is the invisible thread that connects dreams to reality, the bridge that carries you from intention to achievement. Motivation may ignite the spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning when motivation fades. Every successful person you've ever admired built their life on one simple truth. Consistency beats inspiration. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's not loud or exciting. It's quiet, steady, and relentless. It shows up when you don't feel like it, when no one is cheering, when the results aren't visible yet. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unseen. It's the foundation upon which greatness is built. Most people wait to feel ready before taking action. They tell themselves, I'll start when I'm motivated, not realizing that motivation is unreliable. It's emotion-based. It fluctuates with mood, weather, or circumstance. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. It's rooted in commitment, not convenience. It's showing up for your future self, even when your present self wants to quit. The truth is, success doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. Discipline is the art of choosing progress over excuses, purpose over comfort, and long-term gain over short-term pleasure. Discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's the ability to control your actions, thoughts, and impulses in the direction of your goals. When you master discipline, you stop being a slave to emotion. You learn to delay gratification, to resist distractions, and to focus your energy where it matters most. Every act of discipline is an act of self-respect. When you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you build trust in your own word. That trust becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes momentum. You stop doubting whether you can, because you've proven to yourself that you will. Small daily disciplines are what separate achievers from dreamers. Anyone can work hard for a day, but few can show up every day. Discipline isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. Reading 10 pages a day may not seem like much, but over time it builds a library of wisdom. Saving a small amount daily may feel insignificant, but over months it creates stability and freedom. Working out for 30 minutes each morning doesn't transform you overnight, but it strengthens your body, your mind, and your resolve. Greatness is rarely the result of one massive decision. It's the outcome of hundreds of small decisions repeated faithfully, day after day. Here's the truth most people avoid: indiscipline is more painful than discipline. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Skipping the effort today might feel good in the moment, but the cost comes later, in missed opportunities, broken confidence, and unrealized potential. Discipline, on the other hand, compounds like interest. Every small act adds up, quietly building strength and character. Over time, the disciplined person achieves what the undisciplined only dreams about. Building discipline doesn't require perfection. It requires decision. You decide to start, to stay consistent, to show up whether or not you feel inspired. You decide that your goals matter more than your mood. You train your mind to do what's right, not what's easy. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. Momentum takes over. What once felt hard becomes habit. What once required effort becomes automatic. That's when transformation happens, not in the grand moments, but in the quiet repetitions. Discipline is self-leadership in motion. It means you are no longer driven by impulse or external pressure. You are driven by purpose. You stop waiting for the right conditions and start creating them. You stop hoping for change and start building it brick by brick. Discipline doesn't just change your results. It changes your identity. You begin to see yourself as capable, reliable, and powerful. You stop being someone who tries and start being someone who does. Build discipline. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Execute the simple one consistently. Every time you choose structure over chaos, effort over ease, growth over excuses, you strengthen your character. Discipline is not a limitation, it's liberation. Because when you master yourself, nothing outside of you can control you. That's where change begins, not in luck, not in chance, but in the quiet, steady, disciplined choices you make every single day. Raise your standards, because your life will always meet the level of what you demand from yourself. Not what you desire, not what you hope for, but what you require. The truth is, you don't get what you want in life, you get what you're willing to tolerate. If you tolerate laziness, you'll live in mediocrity. If you tolerate disrespect, you'll live in frustration. If you tolerate fear and self-doubt, you'll never experience your full potential. Everything changes the moment you raise your standards and decide, I will no longer settle for less than I'm capable of. Your standards define your reality. They set the boundaries for how you think, act, and respond to life. When you raise them, your entire life begins to rise with them. High standards are not about arrogance or perfection. They're about alignment, about holding yourself accountable to the vision you claim to have. You can't expect to live an extraordinary life with ordinary habits. You can't build confidence while tolerating excuses. You can't walk in purpose while staying surrounded by people and habits that drain you. Raising your standards means you start living intentionally. You stop saying, maybe someday, and start saying, starting now. It means you stop lowering the bar to make others comfortable and start holding yourself to a higher one, even when no one's watching. Because true character is revealed not by what you do when it's easy, but by what you demand of yourself when it's hard. The moment you decide that mediocrity is no longer acceptable, everything around you starts to shift. Your habits begin to change, your thoughts evolve, your energy rises, and your environment adjusts to match your new frequency. You start to attract better opportunities, better relationships, better results. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. When you raise your internal standards, life mirrors it externally. Success begins with self-respect, and self-respect grows from holding yourself to a higher standard. Look at any area of your life, your health, finances, work, or relationships, and you'll find that your current results are a reflection of your standards. If you accept inconsistency, you'll live with chaos. If you accept disrespect, but you'll receive more of it. But if you decide, I deserve peace, purpose, and excellence, and back it up with consistent action, you'll watch your circumstances transform. Raising your standards means enforcing your boundaries. It means saying no without guilt when something doesn't align with your vision. It means protecting your time, your energy, and your peace like they're sacred, because they are. You teach the world how to treat you by what you allow. So stop settling for half effort, half love, and half belief. You were not created for average. High standards also require discipline. It's not about demanding more from others. It's about demanding more from yourself. When you raise your standards, you commit to excellence in your habits, your mindset, and your behavior. You decide that showing up late, quitting early, or doing the bare minimum is beneath you. You commit to doing the right thing, not the easy thing. You speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. You keep promises to yourself, even when no one would know if you didn't. That's integrity, and integrity is the highest standard of all. Raising your standards will test you. It will require sacrifice. You'll have to let go of people, habits, and environments that no longer align with your growth. You'll have to choose discomfort over complacency. But the reward is freedom. The freedom to live a life that truly reflects your potential. Because when you expect more from yourself, you naturally attract a higher quality of life. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. And habits built on high standards create a life built on purpose. So, take a moment and look at your life honestly. Where have you been settling? Where have you been accepting good enough when you know greatness is possible? Decide today that you're done shrinking. Write new standards for yourself, for your health, your work, your mindset, your relationships. Then enforce them. Because raising your standards isn't just about changing your circumstances. It's about redefining who you are. The moment you do, the world will respond. Because when you refuse to settle for less, life has no choice but to meet you where you stand, at the level of your new higher standard. Feed your mind daily because your thoughts shape your destiny. What you allow into your mind determines the quality of your decisions, your emotions, and ultimately, your life. Just as your body needs healthy food to stay strong, your mind needs good ideas, positive influences, and powerful truths to stay sharp and alive. You can't build a great life with a malnourished mind. The thoughts you entertain today will become the actions you take tomorrow. If you constantly feed your mind with fear, doubt, and negativity, you'll live in worry and limitation. But if you fill it with wisdom, courage, and faith, you'll start living with purpose and power. Every day, your mind is either being strengthened or poisoned, and the choice is yours. The first rule of growth is to stand guard at the door of your mind. Be mindful of what you allow to enter, because not everything that looks or sounds interesting is beneficial. Your mind is a sacred space. It's where your beliefs, dreams, and creativity are born. Protect it from the noise of the world. Protect it from gossip, drama, and opinions that pull you down. You don't have to consume every piece of news, every argument, or every distraction that crosses your screen. Be selective, because the content you consume doesn't just entertain you, it shapes you. What you repeatedly hear, you eventually believe. What you believe, you act on, and what you act on becomes your life. To feed your mind properly, you must first be intentional. Great thinking doesn't happen by accident. It comes from surrounding yourself with meaningful ideas and influences. Start with reading. Books are tools for transformation. They give you access to minds greater than your own. Just a few pages a day can shift your perspective. Read biographies of people who overcame hardship, books on personal growth, leadership, and mindset. Don't read to escape life, read to elevate it. Every book you finish adds a new layer of wisdom to your thinking. Listening is another powerful way to nourish your mind. Turn idle time into learning time. Replace background noise with inspiration. Listen to podcasts, audiobooks, or speeches that challenge your assumptions and expand your vision. Let wisdom speak louder than distraction. When you listen to people who think bigger than you, your own thinking starts to stretch. Soon the limits you once accepted no longer feel acceptable. That's how growth begins, one idea at a time. Journaling is also a key part of mental nourishment. Writing gives your thoughts clarity and direction. It allows you to process emotions, reflect on lessons, and capture insights before they fade. When you write about your goals, fears, and victories, you get to see your inner world on paper, and once you can see it, you can shape it. Journaling helps you track your growth and reminds you how far you've come. Even a few minutes a day can make your thinking more structured and focused. The people you talk to are also food for your mind. Conversations are powerful exchanges of energy and ideas. Talk to people who challenge you, who inspire you, who make you think differently. Surround yourself with minds that talk about vision, purpose, and solutions, not just problems and complaints. When you engage in meaningful discussions, your thoughts expand, your confidence grows, and your worldview deepens. Choose your circle wisely because the voices you hear most often will soon become your own. Finally, avoid mental junk. Just like your body can't thrive on junk food, your mind can't thrive on junk thoughts. Be aware of how much time you spend scrolling through negativity, comparing yourself to others, or consuming meaningless content. Every minute you spend feeding your mind garbage is a minute stolen from your growth. Replace that noise with silence, reflection, and inspiration. Feeding your mind daily isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's about building resilience. When your mind is strong, you can face challenges with clarity and calm. You respond instead of react. You lead instead of follow. You think before you speak. You live with intention instead of drifting in confusion. The world is loud, full of distractions and chaos, but your mind doesn't have to be. You can train it to focus, to believe, to create. So guard it, feed it, and water it with wisdom. Because the stronger your mind becomes, the better your life will be. Feed it daily, and it will feed your future. The journey to becoming unstoppable begins and ends within you. It's not about luck, talent, or perfect timing. It's about the mindset you build, the standards you set, and the discipline you live by. You've learned that everything starts with your philosophy, that the way you think shapes the way you live. You've seen that responsibility gives you power, discipline turns effort into excellence, and high standards pull you out of mediocrity and into mastery. You've discovered that feeding your mind daily is how you stay sharp, grounded, and focused in a noisy world. The truth is, transformation doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in the small, consistent choices you make every day. Every time you choose growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses, and discipline over distraction, you're building a version of yourself that can't be shaken by circumstances. You stop waiting for motivation and start moving with purpose. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Becoming unstoppable is not about doing everything. It's about becoming someone who never gives up on what truly matters. It's about living with clarity, courage, and conviction even when no one's watching. So from this moment forward, make a decision to think stronger, to act wiser, to raise your standards higher than ever before. Because once you decide to change your mind, your life follows. This is your reminder. You are the architect of your future. The power is already within you. Own it, live it, protect it. Because when you master your philosophy, your responsibility, your discipline, and your standards, nothing can stop you. You don't just survive. You lead, you rise, and you inspire. And that's how you become truly unstoppable.